guys, it's Glenn from glenscarcollection.com, and today we're going to talk about one of my favorite cars, the Ford Mustang Shelby GT350 and 350R. We've reviewed 800 cars on this channel since inception, and this is one of my favorite cars. We have a slew of videos on the GT350 and 350R. Remember, if you like what you see, hit the subscribe button. If you're already a subscriber, hit the notification bell. I post 3 videos a week every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern. A lot of times I'll give you a 4th video. If you don't hit the notification bell, you won't see that video. Like and share this video so our channel can grow, and as always, leave a positive comment below. Well, I've owned many Mustang GTs in the past, all V8s with manual transmissions. So that's one of the things I love about the Shelby GT350 and 350R is it only comes with a manual transmission. Keep in mind the new GT500, yes, it has 200 more horsepower and it's faster and more track worthy and all this other stuff, but it only comes with a dual clutch. So if you love the manual transmission, this car is for you. Now Ford has canceled this car. So in this video we'll talk about why it's canceled, the differences between the GT350 and the R that you see here, and what the values are now and what I think the future values are going to be. All right, so one of my favorite cars that I've ever driven on this channel is this GT350R in this beautiful avalanche gray. We've also done subscriber cars. So let's go over the 350 differences right now. You get the carbon fiber wheels. Now, if you're thinking of buying a GT350 and you have a different front spoiler here and a different rear spoiler, if you're thinking about buying a GT350 and say, hey, I'll just switch the spoilers and put on the carbon fiber wheels, you're sorely mistaken. Those wheels cost $4,000 each. So to get 4 of them are going to be $16,000. Now, how can you tell the R besides the spoilers, which are obvious? Those red pinstripes on the exterior of those stripes running down the middle. So if you instead of looking down here at the spoiler as you're traveling with this car coming the other way, glance at the stripes. If you see the exterior has the red stripes, it's an R. Same thing if you have the side profile here. Look at the carbon fiber wheels, and if you see the hood, you can see the red stripes clearly on the exterior of those black stripes. So what's to like about this car? Well, a lot. Besides being rear drive and these analog gauges and having a 6-speed manual, is you have a high revving V8 engine, revs to over 8,200 RPM and has 526 horsepower. If you're used to Fox bodies and SM95s like I've owned in the past, you will miss the torque, but it makes up for the rev. So you've never driven a Mustang like this that actually handles and actually has the high revving engine. This video took me hours to film because I was having so much fun driving this car. You get these terrific cargo seats. This is the best sounding stock car I've ever driven. So you can make an E92 M3 sound fantastic, a V10 M5 sound fantastic, an E39 M5 sounds fantastic with the aftermarket. This is the best sounding stock car I've ever driven in my life. And we're going to play a slew of exhaust clips at the end of this video, so make sure to watch all the way through. Now, if you love the E92 M3 like I did, I had one for 6 years, you will love this car as well. That high revving V8 never gets old. Now let's talk about the differences between the R and the base model. So we talked about the carbon fiber wheels. We've talked about the red pinstripes, the different front and rear spoiler. Of course, we have a stiffer suspension, stickier summer-only tires that you see here. Now, there are rear seat deletes. The original R's had rear seat deletes. As the model years went on, you could actually put that rear seat back. If you delete everything, the rear seat, the radio, the air conditioning, the backup camera, you can save about 100 pounds. So instead of about 3760 or 3660, 0 to 60 time is a little quicker in the R, about 3.9 seconds with that weight savings, as opposed to 4.1 seconds on the regular GT. Quarter mile for the regular GT350, not GT. For the GT350, we'll call it the base, though there's not such thing as a Shelby base, is 12.4 second quarter mile, and the R gets it done in about 12.1. That R splitter, as you just saw, is very, very low. Be careful on speed bumps, potholes. Now, the R does have a pretty stiff suspension. It is stiffer than the GT350. Both of them have stiff suspensions, but I think you could actually get away with it as a daily driver. With the R, very low front wing and the carbon fiber wheels in New Jersey's terrible pothole-filled roads, I would think you wouldn't want to use it as a daily driver. So now values. So the last year they're selling this car is 2020. So you could still buy some leftover 2020s, 2019s, but most of them are going to be used cars. But the good news is, since most people use this as a second or third car, they still have relatively low mileage, which makes it good when you pick one up. So looking at early cars, they're still typically around low $50,000 range. I've seen a couple for about $48,000, if you can find more with like 8,000 miles, 10,000 miles. But most of these are low mileage cars. You can still get 2, 3, 4, 5,000 mile cars for probably between 50 and 55,000. And that's really a bargain when you think about it. Now this car is an R. This R was bought private sale for $60,000, and it's low mileage as well. You can see my full review of it. Watch to the end of this video, and I'll post it at the end. Watch my review of the R. You can also watch my earlier videos on the GT350s in Grabber Blue, which is a gorgeous color. This color is Avalanche Gray, and I hope it comes out in the pictures as good as it did looked in person. So I think as a collector, I like to buy cars, drive them for 3 or 4 years, and sell them and make a profit. And I think you have a chance to do that with the R. So let's take the Focus RS, for example. They were selling for oversticker when they came out. Ford did not limit production at all. Eventually, supply caught up to demand, and the car started depreciating. The Focus RS has been canceled recently, and we see values holding steady and even appreciating. So with these cars, now that they're not going to make them anymore, and the reason they're not going to make them anymore is because of the GT500. Now that has 700 more horsepower, but it's a dual clutch, not a stick. So that car is certainly this car turned up to 11, but if I was buying, this is the car I would buy. At this price point, I think you can't go wrong. A lot of GT350s were sold, so be very particular. Of course, if you have rare colors like the Grabber Blues do well, the Avalanche Grays do well, they'll sell for higher than, say, your typical standard colors. But get what color you choose. Obviously, you're not buying it for the next guy, you're buying it for yourself. I think the R, because it's much more limited numbers, and it has cool features like the front and rear splitter, but especially the carbon fiber wheels. I think this is going to be the one to have for collectors. If you drive it sparingly, like maybe 1,000, 2,000 miles a year, I think you'll do well in the long run. Now, you may have to wait 10 years, you may have to wait 20 years, but I think as long as Ford doesn't come out with a replacement for this car, a direct replacement, because remember they have the GT500, but that's a dual clutch and even more extreme, and we're going to come out with a Mach 1, and there'll be other iterations, like you already know that I love the Bullet. I think you will do very well here if you get a R and hold on to it and drive it sparingly. Of course, drive it as much as possible. Who cares about resale value? Drive it and enjoy it. But I think the GT350 is a fantastic car to own, and I really think that this car you can just drive and have fun with, and I think it'll maintain value. There may be an initial drop, but once the market realizes they're not making any more of these cars, at some point the demand will exceed the supply, and I think we'll see these cars go up in value. I don't see them as $100,000 cars. Maybe a very, very low mileage R could be with like 500 miles on it, 1,000 miles on it. But the GT350s, I think, are always going to be in that $45,000 to $50,000 range, and I think it's a heck of a car for $50,000. You can buy a new GT and it's going to depreciate, or you can buy a GT350 used for $50,000, and it'll probably be in that $45,000 to $50,000 range for a very, very long time. That's the way I would buy it. Try to get an R if you can. If you want to drive it a lot, like make it a daily or something like that, I think you can't go wrong with the GT350. I think your depreciation will be minimal. So always try to buy a stock, clean car. If you buy a car with mods, it could even devalue the car in some eyes, unless those are the exact modifications you want and you're willing to pay for it because you're getting them at a bargain price, on pennies on the dollars, then of course go for it. If you're looking to the car to hold as much value as possible and have a chance of appreciation, which I think some of the cleanest low mileage, all original of these cars will, then obviously that's exactly how you want to buy it. You want to buy it low mileage, clean, and original. Drive it and enjoy it. Don't lock it in the garage just because you want to make a couple bucks. Definitely have fun, enjoy the car, and if it holds its value, or maybe you can make a little profit or a little bit of loss, I think you'll think that this car was worth every penny. It's unfortunate that the car is canceled, but as enthusiasts, now is the time to buy. All right, guys, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So remember to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next video. I post extra videos you won't know unless you're notified. Let me know in the comments below. Would you choose the R or the GT350? Or do you think there's a better car in this price range? Let me know in the comments, and I will respond. I'll see you next time.